Hello and welcome to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. It is Tourism Tuesday, Berryville, Clarke County edition. We are back on the Zooms today with Martha Reynolds. Martha, as you may remember, is the executive director at the Barns of Rose Hill. And December and even into January, February, March, Martha, is really busy for you guys at the Barns. Most people would think, oh, the cold weather, there isn't a lot going on, but you certainly fill up your calendar.
We really do. Actually, the winter time is our best season. So many other venues shut down during this time, and we keep the music flowing throughout the year. So we really jam-packed our schedule this winter season, and we think people will enjoy it.
You've got a lot of interesting exhibits that are going to be on
Absolutely.
display at the Barns coming into the new year as well.
Absolutely. People think of us as a concert venue, but we always have something on display. We're very delighted with our very first collaboration with Firehouse Gallery, which is located in Charlestown. It's a collective of artists from the Eastern Panhandle of West Virginia. Lots of small pieces, very ideal for holiday gift giving. Everything from pen and ink to watercolor to photography to jewelry. So that's a very nice show that will continue through the holiday season into January. And then we will follow that up with a really interesting exhibit brought to us by a local artist, Jim Haller. He uses a very different type of stippling technique. It's very meditative with pen and ink. He creates these very elaborate illustrations that speak to his experiences. They're really very interesting. So I think people will like that one. It's pretty, but it's also not necessarily just art for art's sake. There's definitely some narrative context behind that. So definitely worth a visit in January, February. And then in March, April, we'll have two shows on display. We'll be working with the Clarke County High School IB Art program to showcase some student art in March in alignment with our Emerging Artist Month. And then we're excited to bring in Kristen Fioravanti, who is also a young emerging artist on the scene. She just had a week-long exhibition at the Shen Arts Gallery on the Walking Mall in Winchester and sold like 4 or 5 pieces. So she's really making waves on the local art scene. So I'm very excited to see what she brings to us.
I saw that name and I kept thinking, where have I seen that before? I've heard of
Mm-hmm.
that name. Where is it from? And now that you say Shen Arts, I was there over the weekend. All of her things are hanging on the wall in
Yep.
their artist co-op downtown on the Walking
Mm-hmm.
Mall. And she is amazing. They are
Yes.
phenomenal pieces.
Very interesting. And I'm loving her progression because she started with very documentarian style art. She took photographs from her youth and recreated them in her own artistic style. But now she's really branched out and is experimenting with color theory and doing a lot of really creative things. You can see these narrative elements like loss of innocence, this childlike wonder mixed with this fear of adulthood. Her work is really quite compelling and really a lot of different multimedia pieces. So she's really making waves.
And this is a lot of variety for
Mhm.
an exhibit. When you partner with places like Firehouse Gallery, I love when you guys do that sort of thing because it is so many different artists that are
Yes.
coming together. When you have a collective to showcase that way, it means that, oh, I'm not really into watercolor. That doesn't matter because watercolor isn't going to be the only thing that's
Right.
there. So I
Exactly.
love that you
Exactly.
have so many different things for so many different people.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And we think about that when we schedule out our exhibits calendar for the year. We want to make sure that it's not just one-sided because there's so many different media in visual arts and we have to illustrate. That's part of our responsibility to showcase so many different forms of art. So it's very exciting to be able to do that.
So we're coming into 2026, which is the 250th. Everybody, I'm sure, has heard about the VA250. Is Barnes of Rose Hill participating in any of those events?
We sure are. We are part of the Clarke County VA250 committee and very excited to be in that partnership. It's a great group of organizations that have come together to host a really wide variety of programs in conjunction with the anniversary. A sidebar, it's actually the Barnes 15th anniversary and the nation's 250th. So we're very excited about being able to have an anniversary at the same time. But the official kickoff for the county's all of the organizations are going to be represented at this kickoff at Chilly Hollow Brewing Company. And that's going to be on January 25th on a Sunday. So we hope everybody will come out to learn a little bit more about what all the different places are doing for the anniversary and just get excited with us because obviously we're very excited about it. Some of the things that we're working on, the Shenandoah Valley Battlefield Foundation, they're hosting a book talk here about the Saratoga battle and how that really transformed the scope of the American Revolution. We're working with Josephine School Community Museum to bring a program called Songs from Slavery to Civil Rights to the Barns. We're doing our own Roots of a Nation concert series where we're trying to do a variety of performers and artists showcase the heart of what is American music at its core and the evolution of that sound, including Brad and Ken Kolodner and their quartet, father and son. Hubby Jenkins, who is a fan favorite here at the Barns, does old time and blues, going to be coming back in May. We're going to have Kathy Fink and Marcy Markser, old time bluegrass, that same sort of country element to it in June. So we're really packing that schedule. We're even going to be doing a Forging a Nation film series with some mainstream films in partnership with the American Legion Auxiliary Unit 41, the local post here in Berryville. So very excited about all these things that are coming through the pipeline.
Nobody in 2026 is going to be able to say there's nothing to do in my
That's
area.
true. No, I think it's going to be the latter. They're going to have to decide. They're going to have to check off their calendar and say, I might be able to hit 2 things today, not 3.
And I love that you're highlighting in this concert series original music because I don't think people think sometimes about how even the sound of music or how it's performed has progressed over the
Mhm.
years. We think about what it sounded like then and what it sounds like now, and we don't understand what had to happen in between.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's a lot in that gap there. And the performers that we're bringing in, a lot of traditional styles of instrument as well. We're looking at banjo, we're looking at hammered dulcimer, we're looking at those things that are quintessential to traditional folk and American music. I think it's a fun opportunity to highlight as part of our celebration. We want to showcase the arts as part of the 250th because the arts are quintessential to the founding of our nation and to what we're all about today. I think it's a fun opportunity to do that.
And I think attending that kickoff on January 25th would be great for someone who maybe thinks they know about all of the things that are in their area because they're probably going to find out that there are things they didn't know about. And it also just reminds people what is right there in their backyard. So having this 250 to hang your hat on and use it as a promotional tool is really valuable.
Oh, absolutely. We've all really rallied around this subject matter, not only because it's exciting and has a lot of potential, but because we're delighted to have a central theme that gives us the chance to collaborate. A lot of the times, if we're collaborating all these local organizations, it's a stretch. This is not a stretch. So we're delighted to be able to work with so many different groups to be able to put on such a variety of programs.
The thing that I appreciate about it too is that so many times we hear about our area and its Civil War history. And this
Absolutely.
goes far beyond just the Civil War. When you're talking about the American Revolution, you're going back to the founding, which is great to be able to remind people that Winchester did exist before the Civil War came to town.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. I know that there are programs going back even further to the French and Indian War. So it's going to be a very broad scope in terms of Clarke County celebration. So a very holistic look at how we've gotten where we are now. And I have to give a lot of credit to Nathan Stalvey at the Clarke County Historic Association for rallying us all as part of this effort, submitting a lot of grants. And obviously that's super important at this time too. Just a big shout out to Nathan for doing that.
Oh, yeah, this is like his Christmas. I know
Oh,
we're
yes.
sitting here in early December and Christmas is literally just around the corner, but 2026 is gonna be like Christmas all year round, all year
That's
for
right.
Nathan because this is his jam.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I have never seen him quite so excited about anything, and that's saying something.
It may also explain why he did not choose to have a show at the end of the year next year because he probably figured he'd be exhausted.
I think so.
So you mentioned a few minutes ago that in March and April, you've got the Clarke County High School art student exhibition because it's Emerging Artists Month. So tell me
Yeah.
about that in March because you got a grant from the
Yeah,
Community
we
Foundation.
did. Yes. So Virginia as a whole celebrates Youth Art Month in March. We wanted to expand on that, and we put together a project that we're calling Emerging Artist Month as an effort to highlight local artists, authors, people on the scene who are up and coming. Part of that is going to be our IB Art program with the local high schools, so an exhibit by local students. Kristen's exhibit is part of that as an emerging artist. You're the first to know, Janet, that we're going to have Lillian Hackett here performing as part of that Emerging Artist Month as well. So we're really excited to be able to highlight some talent that is new and up and rising on the scene. This is definitely an exciting project, and we're delighted to be able to get grant funding from the Boxley Fox Fund at the Community Foundation for the Northern Shenandoah Valley. They make it possible for us to do things like this that we haven't done before. That's sort of an experiment, but a fun effort to highlight people that are fresh and some people that maybe you didn't know about before.
For years, I talked to Larry, who was the executive director at the
Uh-huh.
Community Foundation, and he would talk about these different grants that they have in these different funds and what the process was like for people that apply to get these grants. Nancy is now who I talk to on a fairly regular basis, mostly because we sit on a couple of committees
Sure.
together as well. So it's really cool to see the other side. They talk about who these grants are for and what kinds of projects they want to fund. So it's really cool to know that the Barnes of Rosehill got one and what you're doing with it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we work hard to make sure that our programs meet the needs of the community, that it fits within the scope of what the original fund was intended for. Robert and Genevieve Boxley originally founded this fund. They also have a permanent endowment that has been set up for the Barnes of Rosehill that's managed by the Community Foundation. So, in terms of their generosity, it just keeps on giving. We really are delighted to be able to have so many resources to support the arts. It really does make a difference.
Let's take a break. You mentioned earlier that so many people think of the Barnes of Rosehill for your concerts, and you still have some of those coming up in the
Absolutely.
new year. So, can we talk about those when we come back?
Oh, yes, let's do.
We are on the Zooms today with Martha Reynolds. Martha is the executive director at the Barnes of Rosehill. It is Tourism Tuesday, Berryville, Clarke County edition. We're going to come back and learn more about things that are happening there in just a couple of minutes.
Okay. I don't think Janet knows I'm recording this. She just stepped away to get another cup of coffee, so here's my chance. Hey everyone, it's Andy from the United Way of the Northern Shenandoah Valley. And yes, Janet, if you're hearing this, surprise. We're still celebrating the Valley Today's 2500th episode and this awesome community fundraiser you came up with. Here's the deal. Between now and the end of the year, it's Janet's goal to raise $2,500 to support the great work of the nonprofits in this community. If you give just $25 or more, you're going to be entered into a chance to be a guest on the show with Janet. If you give $250 or more, we'll make you a commercial just like this one that will air on the Valley Today podcast. So go to givebutter.com/the Valley Today right now before Janet realizes that I've hijacked her airtime. She's walking back in, cup of coffee in hand, gotta go. Remember to donate between now and the end of the year and support the great work of so many nonprofits and celebrate 2,500 episodes of the Valley Today.
Welcome back to the Valley Today. I am your host, Janet Michael. It is Tourism Tuesday, Berryville, Clarke County edition. I am on the Zooms with Martha Reynolds. Martha is the director at the Barnes of Rosehill. In the first segment, we learned about some of the exhibits that are coming up, one that's happening now through January, and then those that'll take us through first quarter, along with the VA250 programs and Emerging Artist Month in March. I'm really excited about that because I am all in on learning about or meeting new artists, Martha. So I
Mhm.
love that you dedicated a whole month to that.
We're excited about it too. That schedule that I shared is just the beginning. I didn't even mention Mark Earshai, who is rocking and rolling on the Loudon Lyric Opera. He's going to be doing a show with us too. Just so many rising voices that we're so excited to highlight as part of that.
I always joke with you because you're one of the easiest guests that I have every time you do the show because you do send me this list of all of the things. And it is amazing to me. I mean, we could probably do easily a 2-hour show if we were just trying to cover all of the things. So the fact that you've got to pick and choose what to highlight during the 24 minutes or so that we have is a
Sure.
pretty big task.
It's a challenge because we're so enthusiastic about everything that we do here, Janet. So honing it down to a few things and high level things is always difficult. But just know that I love everything that we do. So this is just to make sure that people have some things on their radar. We're particularly excited about some of our returning favorites for next year, but in addition to some newcomers in terms of our music program, lots of things to look forward to in the first quarter. We've got our Bluegrass and Barbecue series returning, a big favorite among everybody. We're so grateful for our partnership with Jordan Springs Market. They bring out the barbecue for that, and everybody loves it. So we're so delighted to be able to have that partnership. Plate scrapers are going to be back on January 9th, so that's definitely one that is gonna go quickly. People better buy their tickets sooner than later, and we'll make sure to have plenty of beer for that show too.
I love their name. Their name could not be more appropriate. And then you tie in Jordan Springs Barbecue, and it's a literal description as well.
It absolutely is. And you know what? That group, they have the best swag. They have the best merch. They're all the plate scrapers, all of their designs, their logos are just hysterical. It's so them and it's just so perfect. We really love them.
How does the Bluegrass and Barbecue series work? Do you do something every single month or do you do it every other month? How does that
We
series work?
often do. Bluegrass and barbecue tends to be skewed towards the first half of the year for us. We typically do about one a month, but sometimes that varies. I picked a couple of highlights to talk about today, Janet. Martha Spencer and the Wonderland Band. I chose they're coming in April because we loved them this year. It was their first time here this year. They're actually supported by the Virginia Commission for the Arts as a Virginia touring artist. So they bring a lot of credence with them. It's not only bluegrass, it honestly could fit in our sort of a Roots of a Nation concert series, even because there's a lot of traditional Appalachian tunes mixed in. Martha Spencer has a really unique and interesting voice. We think people are going to really come out in droves for that show, even though it's right around Easter. So maybe that's a good thing. If you got family in town, you know where to come.
That's true. And we've talked about this before too. When we talk about the types of music, sometimes we as music lovers put performers in a box. So we hear bluegrass and we think, oh, I don't really like bluegrass or I don't really like Appalachian music. That's just a label. It doesn't necessarily mean it's what you've heard before and didn't like. So you really need to give all of this a shot because it is different. Each artist performs their music in a different way.
Absolutely. I'm still learning about the more traditional forms of bluegrass versus more progressive bluegrass and the differences between even those two within the same genre. It's very hard to put a pin in some of these artists, though, because they're so creative. And like you said, to put them in a box, it's not fair. And to label anything is not fair, but it does help for everyone to be able to have something to relate to, something tangible like the Bluegrass and Barbecue series, which we feel like gives people a little sense of trust. Hey, I've enjoyed other Bluegrass and Barbecue series here before. I don't know the artist, but I know that I've always enjoyed that kind of music. So I definitely would encourage people to experiment, to listen to some YouTube videos if they're not sure, because a lot of these artists, they really have a wide berth in terms of the kind of music that they perform.
And you wouldn't ask them back if they weren't that great the first or second time
Absolutely.
around.
That's right. That's right. The plate scrapers, I think it was 2 years ago now, there was a young boy in the audience named Jude, and he requested, Hey Jude, he requested a Beatles song from the plate scrapers, and they played Hey Jude for him. And that was probably the best crossover that I ever saw.
That is fantastic. And you've got something special coming up on the 21st of February?
Yeah, I was excited to call that one out too, because in terms of our returning favorites, Swearingen and Kelly, AJ and Jane, they are a fabulous couple. They do songs of the 70s for us, and it's just the most wonderful show. Jim Croce, they do Simon and Garfunkel, Carole King, delightful renditions of your favorite songs. It's really a nice show, very sentimental, but also they bring in a couple of their originals. They have such a wonderful connection. Their vocal harmonies are stellar. That show's going to be sponsored by Love at First Bite Catering. So we're so excited to be able to have them back.
Usually, when I am talking to, and I'll say kids using air quotes, but teenagers or young college students, and I'll ask them about what kind of music do they listen to. It is always so great for me when they start calling out names of music groups or
Oh,
bands from the 60s and 70s and the 80s, because that's what their parents listened to growing up.
sure.
And I
Yes.
think it's a great way to keep music alive. Like Carole King is amazing. So it's great to be able to bring your teenagers or your middle schoolers, even your elementary school kids, and give them that breadth of what music was like throughout the generations.
Oh, absolutely. And as Sargent and Kelly, you can call it a tribute, but they make it their own. So it brings it to a new generation of listeners. And that's what I love about what they do.
And then you've got some brand new people that are in the lineup this year.
Lots of brand new people too. We're very excited. We were contacted by Alela, which is an indie folk cellist. She's actually going to be in the area from Seattle recording an NPR Tiny Desk concert and reached out to us. And we're so excited. She's going to be joining us on January 10th. That's going to be lovely. Like I said, cellist, indie folk, really nice show. Then we've got Damn Tall Buildings coming, which is another stellar bluegrass band on January 16th. Then Newbury and Verge, a really wonderful old time string band duo on January 31st. So very excited about those three newcomers on the scene as well.
January is going to be a
It's
great
gonna
month
kill
for
it.
music.
Stellar artists in January. Really a very great lineup.
So we've spent a fair amount of time talking about what people can expect in 2026, but we're still sitting at the very end of 2025. Are there things that we can still do now that are going to be of benefit to support you at the Barns of Rose Hill?
Absolutely. I mentioned sponsors, I mentioned grants, I mentioned partners. None of this happens without that support. First quarter programs, we really depend on the year-end giving season to make all of that happen. So definitely we hope that people will give what they can, support us in the ways that they can. Ticket sales, donations, memberships, things of that nature. I know that everybody's pocketbook is a little tight these days, and I totally empathize with that. But whatever people can do, it really does make a difference in our ability to bring such a robust schedule of events, of concerts, programs, exhibits here to the Barns. And the arts is certainly something that we all need more of right now. So I would certainly encourage people to think about that as we go into the new year.
Over the last couple of weeks, I've had a lot of conversations about shopping small and the fact that Shop Small Saturday gets a whole lot of press and a lot of PR. And sometimes people think that Saturday is the only day that it matters to shop small and that we should be doing it year round, but even more so during the holidays. We're sitting here recording on the 2nd of December, which is technically Giving Tuesday. And I worry too that sometimes people think, oh, if I was going to give to them, I should have done it last week. That's not the case either. Giving year round, but right now at the end of the year is critically important as well.
Absolutely. Giving Tuesday is just meant to be a call out. It's meant to remind you that there are organizations in need in your local area that really could benefit from your support. So if you enjoy your time at the Barns, then maybe that will be something that you support. But obviously, we encourage all sorts of giving because all these local nonprofits, They need it more than ever now.
And let's not forget that a membership to the Barns makes a perfect gift for the grumpy guy on your list or the frugal mom who would never buy something like this for herself, but would love to have it. These are great gift items that kind of are a double whammy do good.
Absolutely. That grumpy guy, I bet you he likes some string band music. And we got that. He might just change his tune and become not such a grumpy guy at that rate. That's what the art is for. That you support a local artist, you support the Barns by purchasing art in our galleries. But if you just don't know, gift memberships are a great way. Then they get to choose the concerts they come to. They get heads up about all the things that are going on here. It's a really good way of keeping active with the Barns. So definitely a good thing to keep in mind for holiday gift giving.
It also makes that person that you're giving it to feel a little bit like a VIP because they do
Oh,
get those member exclusive
yes,
things.
they do.
And that in and of itself sometimes makes the experience so much more worthwhile than giving them a gift of a thing.
We really cherish our members, and it's a very community oriented place here at the Barns. Our members are our most connected constituents. We really try to make sure that they feel like they're special.
And you mentioned earlier you're celebrating your 15th year in
Yes,
2026. I don't doubt at all that everyone that's listening today agrees with me. We'd like to see the Barns of Rose Hill be here another 15, if not
that's
another
right.
50.
Absolutely. We're right on the cusp of this. This is a big time for us because it's our 15th anniversary. Next year will mark the 10th year of our 10-year endowment fundraising campaign. That's all coming together. The endowment fundraiser is going to conclude at the end of August. Our anniversary is going to be in September. So the world is our oyster at this point in time. We're finally reaching that maturation point, Janet. We feel like we're growing and getting more sophisticated. More artists are reaching out to us. We're not doing the cold calls as much anymore. We've built that reputation among performers, among artists, and the like. So we're really excited about sharing this anniversary with the community because ultimately this is not just about the Barns. Without the community, this place wouldn't be here. So this is something that we want to share in with everyone. So we're actually encouraging everyone to share favorite memories, favorite stories with us, which they can do on our website. There's a little link right at the top of barnesofrosehill.org. It says share your story. We're going to highlight those throughout the 15th anniversary year.
It's also really important to point out the fact that when that 10-year campaign ends in August, if you succeed in raising that, what is it, $100,000 before August,
That's
you've
right.
done that then for 10 years, that more or less solidifies the future of the Barns because that is a
Absolutely.
matching fundraising platform that you've got. And that's going to be able to cover a lot of the things that right now you're pulling and maybe robbing Peter to pay Paul to make sure makes
Right.
everything work. It's going to take your stress level down to a whole lot less knowing you've got that
Absolutely.
cushion there.
Yeah, we'll be able to focus more on our core mission, which is the programs that bring people to the area to celebrate the arts and focus less on the financial side of things. It will be a bit of a breather for us finally, Janet, I think. But yeah, at the end of that 10 years, we will have a $2 million endowment, and that tremendously impacts the future longevity of the organization. So I think it pretty much guarantees that we'll be here for at least another 15 years.
So all you large corporate people out there that are looking for that end of the year tax write-off, you could
That's
put them
right.
over the top before August even gets here and call
Make
it a
it
day.
count. That's it.
We joked earlier about how we've talked about a lot today, but we haven't talked about everything today. Where is the best first place for somebody to go to just stay up to date on all the things that are happening at the Barns of Rose Hill?
barnesrosehill.org is the best place to go. We're actually actively updating it with a lot of the things that we talked about today, Janet. So some of these things, the first word is going to be heard by the people on your show, but we're actively launching a lot of these programs on our website. We also have a pretty active Facebook following. We're almost at 10,000 10,000 followers. As of today, we're about 30 people away from 10,000 followers on Facebook, which is very exciting for us as well. That's a great way to support your favorite nonprofit. Follow. So definitely keep up with us at barnesandrosehill.org. There's also a link on there to join our email mailing list if you want to get regular updates on what's coming up. We do that about once a month so that everybody just has it fresh in their inbox without it being a burden or annoying. So definitely a good thing to do to keep in touch with us.
I love the newsletters because it reminds me of something you and I have talked about that I thought in the moment, oh, I want to get a ticket for that, or I want to make sure I go and see that exhibit. And then, of course, the next show comes and the next show comes. And then I get the email. And I'm like, oh, yes, now I'm going to put it on my calendar. It's a really good reminder.
It is. We all need those little ticklers because it's easy to look at the calendar and say, ooh, come March, I might want to go see that show. Then you get to that point and, oh, I didn't get my ticket. I need to think about that. I think a lot of people are doing that right now with our holiday concerts, Janet, and wishing they'd got tickets because we've got several sold out already.
It is just so much easier to do it now and look ahead. I had a meeting earlier in the week with Deb from the American Red Cross, and we're working on shows for her for next year. And so we already picked all of the dates that she's going to have in 2026, and we were able to schedule all of her recordings because neither one of us were booked that far in June of 2026. So it was a whole lot easier to get on each other's calendars.
Isn't that a relief?
I hope you have a fantastic holiday, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your Giving Tuesday to chat with me today.
Oh, no, absolutely, Janet. I'm always delighted to chat with you.
I will be back tomorrow with a brand new episode of The Valley Today, a few minutes after noon, so meet me here then.